want you to set the scene, if you will, for the president's visit here in Israel. He's going to be meeting, as we know, not just with members of the current caretaker government later today in terms of bilateral talks, but he's also going to be speaking, we know, as well, to the president of the Palestinian Authority and the former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Well, he's checking all the boxes in Israel. Obviously, given the political turmoil in Israel itself, President Biden is arriving on a landmark visit because, in the end, what the Israelis most want is a reaffirmation from the president, as you said earlier, about his commitment to Israel's security, and the fact that the president went on the record reaffirming that the United States would use force in the event, as a last resort, Iran developed a nuclear weapon is another one of those reassuring markers. Of course, at the same time, the Biden administration is still trying to pry a new nuclear agreement with Iran loose. And so in some respects, you've got the president on the one hand trying to assure Israelis that his policy toward Iran is not going to sell them down the river. And on the other hand, he's signaling to Iran that the United States is losing patience with these negotiations. That's what the Israelis wanted to hear right now.
Mr. Ambassador, I mean, call me a cynic, but that sounds like doublespeak to me. Walk me through how you see this evolving with regards to the Gulf Arab allies, because obviously the UAE, Bahrain, Israel, now in the midst of these Abraham Accords, we're seeing billions of dollars of investment, cross-flow investment happening as a result of that, as well as those security talks. But they're also talking to Saudi Arabia.
There's no doubt that what's coming out of the closet is the subterranean negotiations and consultations that have been taking place between Israel and these Arab states before the Abraham Accords on intelligence gathering, on military cooperation, and in effect, the landmark agreement that was reached between Israel and the United Arab Emirates on mutual defense cooperation is the model that the United States wants to see replicated multilaterally in some respects. I don't know if you recall, there used to be a NATO type of agreement in the Middle East called CENTO. It seems like the Biden administration is trying to resurrect what essentially is a coordinated defense agreement between the United States and Israel and its Arab neighbors that have signed the Abraham Accords to counter Iran.